I want you to obey my commands and give me a good, clean fight. Touch him up, scoot back.
So here's the return of Jamel Herring against Jamaine Ortiz, Timmy, a 15-0-1 fighter who's very confident that he can get to the next level.
Yeah, he's very confident, but I'm wondering which Ortiz is going to come out. I've seen two variations of him. I've seen him be aggressive and highly motivated, throwing combinations, and I've also seen him fight off his back foot and kind of stink up the joint. So curious to see what he's going to be doing tonight.
You know, it's interesting because when we went through the strategy of what he would employ against Herring, you got the sense he would box more and not be the typical pressure guy who we've seen.
In the southpaw stance,
That's
Ortiz, he can switch stances.
He's naturally right-handed, but he will, in other sports, he throws a ball left-handed.
It's funny, and I asked him in the fighter meeting, I said, well, what stance are you going to come out in? And he kind of grinned at me. And I had a feeling he would fight out of the southpaw stance because Herring, he struggles with southpaws.
Of course, he's coming off the loss to Shakur Stevenson, the current unified world champion. That was last October in Atlanta. Jamel Herring now trained by Manny Robles. He was with Brian McIntyre Bomac for 8 fights with the Bud Crawford camp. What do you think of that move going with Manny now?
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Bomac, them, they great. They do a great. Easy to make the new weight class at 135 pounds. Manny Robles is a renowned trainer as well. Great move.
1-2 from Herring. Now trying to place that left hand to the body and the back end of the jab.
You know, that's being first. That's what we call in boxing, being first. Ooh, headbutt.
Be careful, guys. You guys are coming in.
Ortiz is spontaneous. He'll just explode with offense out of nowhere. Try to catch you off guard, off rhythm.
Stop! Break!
Ooh.
Ortiz trying to place that right hook in the midst of that exchange.
10 seconds.
Coming to the end of round number 1 between Herring and Ortiz. Live here from Resorts World in Vegas.
Time.
Joe, Tim, Mark, and Marley Rivera with you here in Vegas. Round number 2. Jamel Herring in that first round enjoyed a 15-7 connect advantage. Jamaine Ortiz heard from a very calm trainer, Rocky Gonzalez, after that first round. A little careless, and that's what makes him dangerous.
Yeah, he was basically talking about what I was saying. He's spontaneous. He'll just explode with offense out of nowhere and attack you with an 18-punch combination.
Right now, hands low, bouncing in and out, trying to time.
Some years ago, but now he's turning into more of a boxer. He says, I don't want to get hit too often. He said, I want to mix it up. I want to use my feet to create some offense for myself.
Both guys trying to work on the inside. Both men trying to find success to the body.
And also sending a message, Tess. He's sending a message and letting them know, like, hey, yeah, you might be young. That's all right. You let your hand go. I can let my hands go, too. I still got it.
10-year age difference between these two, Herring and Ortiz.
You got to keep him up.
Right hand comes in from Ortiz.
Beautiful combination. Came in behind the jab. Followed up with right hand and another jab in the right hand.
And now turns southpaw, and he hits the gas pedal with Herring up against the ropes. And these are those bursts of offense that you were just describing, Timmy.
And see, and that's how you get the attention of the judges, and that's how you're going to win these. That's how he's going to win these rounds.
Oh, right hand comes in from Ortiz. For Jamaine Ortiz, that he was able to land one of his 9 power punches. Here it is, Timmy.
Yeah, that's the best punch to land against the southpaw. Straight right hand. He flanked it with a nice jab just to get the attention and get the eyes of Herring looking at the jab, and then snuck the right hand right behind it. Beautiful shot right there by Ortiz.
So Jamel Herring got off to a good start in round number 1, and then Ortiz comes back with a much better second round, capped by that in the final 5 seconds of round number 2. Let's check in with Mark Kriegel.
Spoke to Manny Robles. I said, what does Jamel have to do? He says, take control of the center of the ring, establish that he's the boss here.
That's important. He needs to use his jab, and he needs to time the younger fighter. Time his rushes. Good defense right there from Herring, but no return fire.
Tried to time a left hand.
Okay, get off, play defense, but then come right back with your offense.
You're holding. You're holding.
Ortiz is from a big family. He's from Puerto Rican and Dominican descent. He's one of 7. He went to the Worcester Boys and Girls Club in Central Mass when he was 7 years old. Lost his dad when he was 15 years old. And here he is 11 years later, an unbeaten pro with the biggest opportunity of his career. Live from Melbourne, Australia, Timmy, Mark, and I will be ringside to call it. George Kambosos against Devin Haney. Devin Haney from right here in Vegas, due to a visa issue, will not be with his son. So here's Devin Haney in the biggest moment, rival territory in a stadium environment against Kambosos. That's going to be live on ESPN. Herring trying to dig underneath with that left hand to the body.
Because you got to think about it, it's double impact. He's coming forward, and then you're sitting down on that shot as he comes in. Gets one right here for the low blow.
Between Ortiz and Herring, the return of the recent champ after his title loss to Shakur Stevenson. Resorts World Events Center, round 4 here between Ortiz and Herring. Let's check in with Marley.
And Joe, we've talked about the age difference between the 26-year-old Jamaine Ortiz and, of course, Herring at 36. But Ortiz is not your typical 26-year-old. He has been someone who had to mature very quickly. He has a 7-year-old daughter. Her name is Amira. And you can check out Jamaine Ortiz's Instagram. It's full of Amira pictures. They do a lot of daddy-daughter posing, and they have a lot of fashion out there. And he says, I do everything for Amira and Roy Jones Jr., who he considers a hero.
Marley, you know, he's very dedicated to his family and to his education. He's at Worcester State University. He said, hey, who knows, down the road med school could be an option for me. Boy, those heads keep coming close and coming together, don't they, Timmy?
Yes, they are. And it's going to continue to happen. That happens with the southpaw and orthodox fighters. You know, the power hand lines up on the same side.
Herring now back at 135 pounds. That's where he started his career. Of course, his success was found at 130 pounds. Won a title there against Ito back in 2019, then had his most impressive performance of his career. In April of 2021, the TKO of the 2-division world champ, Carl Frampton. That was over in Dubai.
That's how you get Ortiz to corroborate. You hit him down to the body. Nice shot, sneak shot right there over the top of Ortiz. But if you bang him down to the body, he's going to sit still. And that betters his chances, Herring's chances, to land something even harder up top. Herring is a way better inside fighter.
End of 4 here in Vegas. He wants him to go to the body, then finish up top to the head. They have been stressing be first, be last. Speaking of body punches, there are the CompuBox tallies for the work to the body for each man. A little extra something between Ortiz and Herring. Remember, our title fight is coming up. Unique circumstances with it being a WBO interim title, but the WBO champion Demetrius Andrade is moving up to super middleweight, so much on the line tonight. And that guy you see right there decked out in the bright red, that is Danny Dignam, the 14-0-1 fighter from Essex, England, the southpaw, who feels very confident. He has tons of respect for Janibek Alimhanova, but he feels very confident that he's put himself in position to pull off this upset tonight. Janibek has been a terror. He's been so impressive, quickly running his mark to 11-0 with 7 knockouts.
Walk straight through the front door without shooting a jab, and he's catching them as he's coming in. Now both guys are choosing to stay close and fight inside the pocket. Ortiz is not looking to be forced back not looking to be forced back right now. He's looking to stand his ground.
Ortiz had success in that southpaw stance, doubling up the right hook to the body and to the head 2 times. Now back orthodox.
But his punches are not as sharp as they were a few rounds ago. And he's missing a lot of his shots, which is an indication he may be tiring.
Off his neck, off his neck. Let him out, let him out.
Ortiz fills that gap right there at that moment.
You can see right here, this is the youth right here coming through for Ortiz. He's a tad bit quicker.
Good left hand.
He's able to get in and out, has a little bit more juice, a little bit more zap in his attacks. Taking advantage of the low points right now from Herring. Ortiz to get off, and he's not getting off first. He's not dictating the pace at which the fight should be fought for him. Now you got a young Ortiz now. After that last round, he's more confident now, and he's coming forward in pressing and taking initiative.
That was the first round of Rocky Gonzalez. Jamaine's trainer was happy. He said he was busier. He took charge.
He had a 19-11 connected advantage. He was 12 of 24 on his power punches. Had that solid left hand there in round number 5. Jamaine Ortiz, the unbeaten fighter from New England, says this is going to be the night where I'm put into the conversation.
Stop.
You look at the work rate and the punches landed by round, and you can see the increase in productivity for Ortiz.
Let's break.
And Herring is starting to diminish slowly.
You're holding. Let him out. Come on.
See, Tess, when you take the initiative, now you get your opponent to react to you. Ortiz will react to him if Herring was to take the initiative. Now, once you take the initiative, you got to be ready to counter because you're going to get a response. You're going to draw something. Ooh, nice.
There's a left uppercut from Jamel Herring. He just timed that uppercut very well. Experience can pay off, can overcome some of what we're talking about.
Yes.
Some of the, what you say, perhaps some not being there physically the whole way.
You're holding.
Experience versus youth. That was a good example of it right there.
Stop.
That's what it's about. You see Ortiz, his head leans forward. His head goes first before his punches come out. That's the reason you're getting these head clashes. And of course, you have the southpaw in orthodox stance. You're always going to clash heads.
10 seconds.
But your head is always on the line of fire.
With primetime boxing, top rank here in action with Jamel Herring's return against a very determined Jamaine Ortiz. In that last round, give credit to Herring for placing that left uppercut, Timmy.
Beautiful left uppercut right up the middle, timing the rush of Ortiz. You see the head of Ortiz coming forward. Herring recognizing it, stepping back, creating distance, being the counter puncher that he is, setting up that beautiful counter left uppercut.
Round number 7 scheduled for 10. Then we will have the 2 unbeatens in the ring to fight for a belt. Manny Robles, after that last round, told Jamel Herring, you have to stay busy. You must stay busy. Threw a fight-high 48 punches in the first round. Last round, he was off that mark, throwing 36.
Come on, you're holding. You're holding.
Ortiz choosing to fight out the southpaw stance right now. Confusing Herring a tad bit. Herring can't land as often as he would like to. And you see the bouncing right here. Now Ortiz, what he's doing, he's changing his rhythm. He's trying to make himself unpredictable, trying to hide.
Been switching stances since early on in this fight. Hands down, bouncing on his toes, darting in and out.
Yep.
Throwing the lead left hand out of that southpaw stance occasionally.
You'll be amazed when you drop your hands how your opponent reacts. It's confusing a bit when you see your opponent's hands down. You're wondering why is his hands down, and you're afraid to actually exchange with him. See it creating a small hesitation in Herring.
Go holding. Go holding. 10 seconds.
Then he digs in on the clap and does this to the bell. Right now, Jamaine Ortiz on total punches has a slight edge, 82-77 in punches connected. He's thrown 50 more punches than Herring. Round number 8.
Come on, you're holding. You're holding.
You know, Rocky Gonzalez doesn't mind Jamaine bouncing around like he did the last round, changing the rhythm. Just, if he's going to do it, throw some punches, get busy.
That didn't happen until the final moments mark of that last round. We're showing you the output, the punches by round. Let's update that number for you. As you see, Herring tailed off in that 7th round.
Indication he's starting to tire, Tess. That's what it is.
Remember, at the conclusion of this co-feature, we will get to the rising star in the middleweight division, Janabek Alimhanallah.
Stop! I got you.
His last fight was a TKO win over Hassan Endam. He was very impressive prior to that, dismantling a titleist in Rob Brandt. Had a tremendous amateur career as a 2016 Olympian, and now fighting for a belt against Danny Dignam. Trained by Buddy McGirt as the advisor and management of Igis Klimas, who works with Vasily Lomachenko and Alexander Usyk. Everything is lined up for Janabek. Now he has to deliver against a determined Brit.
A lot of defense from Herring. Herring just needs to let his hands go. Ortiz, instead, he's retreating, trying not to get hit with combinations from Ortiz. Ortiz is just a tad bit quicker, athletic, younger, and energetic right now.
We'll tell you what Ortiz said about that, the strong statement he made about that youth advantage when we come back. 10 years younger than the recent world champion Jamel Herring, who he's 6 minutes away from getting to the finish line against, possibly coming up with this win, depending on how things play out. Then I need to reevaluate myself. And that was a statement that caught us off guard a little bit, like, wow, that's how much he thinks of himself and how little he perhaps thinks of Herring. But he said, no, my expectation is to be world champion. So this is the kind of fight where I must fulfill that. I have to beat a guy like Jamel Herring right now.
At the door knocking. Now, if he wants to go through the door and get in the house and become a top contender, he needs to beat Jamel Herring tonight.
Keep him up.
But he views himself as distinct favorite, younger, fresher guy, who at this stage of his career, he said, I should be better than him. I am better than him.
Look, Jamel done everything right this camp. You know, I know the fight hasn't ended yet, but I'm just telling you, you know, you get to a certain point where instead of you training harder, you got to train smarter. He did that this camp. He reserved a lot of his energy. He came in a different weight class. He got a new team. But his body is not responding like it once was. That's an indication that the end is near.
There's some good infighting from both guys, but Ortiz may have got the best of it on an early exchange on the inside. But both guys have been digging underneath, sweeping to the body. That was a short right hand from Ortiz. Let's see who's willing to work right now. There's Ortiz letting off a 5-punch, 6-punch combination. Trying to create a gap, fire off that left uppercut as well.
See, this type of fight right here is going to favor Ortiz. He's the younger fighter.
No push, no push.
Has the fresher legs. As you can see, the veteran right here coming back, fighting with a lot of heart. Herring looking for answers.
There's a left hand that comes in from Ortiz as he pushes back. Jamel Herring creates some space, gets around the guard.
Herring right now trying to use his experience right now, trying to lure in Ortiz, trying to get him to make a mistake so he can catch him and capitalize on a mistake. Catch him with something flush and hurt him.
It's a good ninth round for Ortiz. 1 round to go. 10th and final round. Can Jamaine Ortiz finish strongly here? He's coming off by far his best round of the fight. Look at what he did in the 9th round. He was 44 of 115 punches thrown. He outlanded Herring 44-14 in that last round.
Herring trying to respond. His mind is telling him to respond, but his body is not listening.
Herring trying to bounce back after being dismantled by Shakur Stevenson in his last fight. And another sensational performance. Sometimes you're just never the same, Timmy, after you lose like that. And then the clock keeps ticking at 36 years old.
A lot of wear and tear, a lot of miles on that body of Jamel Herring, even though he started late.
One of the most likable fighters of the recent generation, Jamel Herring. Now, could this be the breakthrough moment for Jamaine Ortiz? He says it will be, to put him in the conversation of the contenders.
Tess, it's not a lack of desire from Herring now.
No, not at all.
It's not a lack of desire. Just the reflexes are not there anymore. The hand speed's not there anymore. The balance is not there. The legs are not there anymore.
Final minute. The young man from Worcester, Massachusetts, who came out here to Vegas determined, ready for this chance.
Let's see how Ortiz finishes.
He should let everything go. There's the clap. Jamaine Ortiz hit that gas pedal coming down the stretch.
Yes, he did.
Finished the way he wanted to finish in the last 2 rounds. High punch output, high productivity in punches landed as it started to go the other way for the very proud former champion, Jamel Herring.
Using his jab and occasionally straight left hand down the middle was finding his mark. But then something changed. Midway, Ortiz started finding his rhythm, started mounting his attack, started taking the initiative, throwing his combinations, getting in and out of range, frustrating, confusing the veteran Jamel Herring. And he started landing with more regularity throughout the course of this fight. Jamel Herring tended to fade it. He faded drastically.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for the official decision. Chris Migliore scores the bout 96-94. Max DeLuca and David Sutherland both score the bout 97-93. For your winner by unanimous decision, and now the NABF and USBA lightweight champion, Jamaine the Technician Ortiz!
That is a quality win for Jamaine Ortiz. just like he said he would.